Imagine you're planning a little weekend away to London, a little escape, and you're scrolling through a booking site and you're faced with a choice. There's this 4-star hotel. It's £153 per night, and it looks pretty good. But then right next to it is this 5-star hotel, same dates and similar location, and for a room that can still sleep 2 but it's almost half the size, this costs £248 per night. And you're just staring at the screen thinking, what precisely am I getting for that extra £100? Slightly better folded towel, a mint on the pillow that's 50% more minty, is the complimentary bottle of water from a more pH optimal glacier. It appears to be a mystery. The 4-star hotel actually looks physically nicer and more modern than the 5-star one. So you wonder, where did these stars even come from? Who is the grand judge of hotels, handing out stars from outer space? And what do the stars even represent? Well, it turns out that the whole system has less to do with ensuring that you have a good night's sleep and more to do with selling petrol, rating brandy, and one of the greatest marketing tricks in modern travel. Let's see what this funny business is all about. To understand the star rating system for hotels, we need to go back. Way back, before TripAdvisor and before the internet entirely, but to the 19th century, when travel guides were actual physical books. The first people to really popularise using stars to rate things were the publishers of the Baedeker guides in the 1840s, and they'd slap a star on anything that they thought were noteworthy. A decent hotel? Star. A magnificent cathedral? Star. A particularly lovely sunset? You guessed it, star. It was a simple system for a simpler time. But the 5-star system that we know and are confused by today, that was arguably conceived in America in 1958. And it wasn't invented by a hotelier, or a travel critic, or anyone in the hospitality industry at all. It was invented by Mobil. Yeah, Mobil, the International Oil and Gas Corporation. You might have heard of them. They're known today as ExxonMobil. They're the ones who sell you engine oil at the petrol station. They created the Mobil Travel Guide, and they hired anonymous inspectors, paid them $1.75 per inspection, and sent them out to review hotels and restaurants across the United States. And the guide's primary purpose for Mobil wasn't, to just help travelers. I mean, that's just farcical. It was to encourage them to take more road trips and therefore buy more Mobil fuel. The star system was a genius piece of content marketing, decades before such a term even existed, and if you feel like you've heard of this playbook before, it's because it's the exact reason why Michelin, the tyre company, invented the world-renowned Michelin Guide, the one that awards Michelin stars to restaurants. Now, over in the UK, we had our own equally strange system. The AA, or Automobile Association, they're one of the main UK roadside breakdown recovery services with yellow vans. Well, they started rating hotels even earlier than the Mobil Guide in the US, in 1912. And how did they decide on star ratings? Well, the AA's secretary, a guy called Stenson Cook, based the system on how brandy was rated. So 2 of the most influential hotel rating systems in the world were created to either sell fuel or classify booze. This is the foundation that we're working with. It was never designed to be a single objective measure of quality. It was designed for marketing, which explains the absolute chaos that we have today. Okay, so if the star rating system for hotels was born from such random origins, who's in charge now? The simple answer is no one. There is no single global body that governs hotel stars. There's no FIFA of fluffy towels or UN of upholstery. It's a messy patchwork of national bodies, private companies, and online algorithms. First up, we have the official raters. These are the big, serious organizations that send out professional, anonymous inspectors. At top of the list here is the Forbes Travel Guide, which is the direct descendant of that old Mobil Guide. They're the special forces of hotel inspections. Their inspectors check into hotels for multiple nights, pay their own way, and evaluate properties on a list of up to 900 objective criteria. They're obsessed with service, so a Forbes 5-star rating is a genuine mark of extreme luxury. In North America, you might have also heard of the AAA Diamond ratings, and the AAA is the US version of our AA that I mentioned earlier, I want to imagine that the third A just stands for America, and it stands for American AA. They don't use stars, they use diamonds, because, well, they're fancier, I suppose. Their system, which began in 1976, also uses professional anonymous inspectors and focuses on general cleanliness, comfort, and hospitality. Here in the UK, the AA is still the main player here. They've now harmonised their standards with the national tourist boards like Visit England and Visit Scotland, creating a common quality standard. So, theoretically, a 4-star hotel in Cornwall is the same as a 4-star hotel in the Scottish Highlands. Nice! We have at least some semblance of consistency then. And in Europe, there's something called the Hotel Stars Union, which is an ambitious project to create a single unified system across more than 17 countries in the EU, including Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. Their criteria catalogue is incredibly specific, like getting into details like the minimum height of a mattress or whether there's luggage service on demand. How very European Union. But here's the crucial bit. The star rating that you see when you're looking at a hotel on a booking site like Expedia or Booking.com, that is often not one of these ratings. Right, what the hell's going on here? See, online travel agencies or OTAs frequently just assign their own star ratings independently of any tourism board or self-assigned ratings that the hotel has given themselves. This is an internal classification instead, based on the booking site's own criteria, which might include the hotel's price, the amenities it lists, and sometimes even the data from user reviews. It's not an independent inspection. And that again is completely different from the guest review score. You know, the 8.7 out of 10 on Booking.com or a 4.5 green bubbles on TripAdvisor. And those scores are purely subjective for the guests and an average of what previous guests have rated the hotels and thought. Those are very useful, but not an objective rating of what facilities the hotel has. So when you book, you could be looking at an official star rating, a booking site's rating, or a guest-generated score. It's a bit of a lottery. Now, the biggest problem with even the official systems is what I call the checklist versus quality conundrum. See, most star ratings are based on a checklist of amenities. Does the hotel have a pool? Tick. Does it have a restaurant? Tick. Does it offer 24-hour room service? Tick. But that checklist can't measure quality, feel, and the service. As one hotel manager anonymously put it in this article, the criteria for a 5-star rating might be fresh flowers in a room. But there's a world of difference between a magnificent display of roses and a sad bunch of daffodils from a petrol station down the road. Both tick the box, though, for a certain star threshold. And this is how a hotel can be a 5-star one on paper but feel like a 3-star one in reality. This inconsistency gets even worse when you look globally. A star in one country is not the same as a star in another. Take Japan, a country famous for its meticulous attention to detail and unparalleled service. Surely they have the most rigorous star system in the world, right? Wrong. Japan has no official government-mandated hotel star rating system at all. The stars that you see are either self-assigned by the hotel or just made up by the booking platform that you're using. Then there's China. They do have an official star rating system run by the China National Tourism Administration, but the standards can be wildly different from what a Western traveller might expect. It's a common experience for tourists to find that a Chinese 5-star hotel feels more like a 4-star or even a 3-star one elsewhere. In China, actually, the price of the room is often a much better indicator of the quality than its official star rating. And this happens because what we consider luxury is cultural. In France, regulations might mandate a minimum room size for a 5-star hotel. But in the US, a system like Forbes might place far more weight on whether the staff meet and greet you by name and anticipate your needs, even if the room is a bit smaller. The star system tries to apply a universal metric to a culturally specific idea, which is hospitality. And like a bad translation, the original meaning can sometimes get completely lost. Right, it's time to talk about the legendary 7-star hotel. Now, I'm going to say this plainly, so that there's no confusion. There is no such thing as an official 7-star rating. It does not exist. The maximum is 5. So where did this myth come from? Well, it all started in Dubai in 1999 with the opening of one of the most ludicrously opulent hotels ever built, the Burj Al Arab, the one that looks like a sail and has a helipad sticking out of it. The story goes here that a British journalist was on a pre-opening press trip and was so completely overwhelmed by the sheer unadulterated excess of the place, the sail-shaped building on its own man-made island, the underwater restaurant, the interiors decorated with gold leaf, that she wrote in her article that calling it a 5-star hotel just simply wasn't enough. This, she declared, must be a 7-star hotel. And that term stuck. The hotel's owners, the Jumeirah Group, have officially never claimed that title, but they haven't exactly gone out of their way to correct people either. Why would they? It's the best marketing that they could ever ask for. The term 7-star has now become a sort of unofficial shorthand for a level of hyper-luxury that breaks the normal hotel star rating scale. We're talking about hotels with extraordinary architecture, a fleet of Rolls-Royces to chauffeur guests around, helipads and personal butlers for every suite, and price tags that are of course rumoured to hit upwards of $30,000+ per night. The 7-star urban legend here is a perfect example of how media hype and public perception can create an entirely new category in a market. It effectively broke the 5-star scale, creating a tier of hyper-luxury that the official systems don't even recognise, yet everyone in the travel world understands. So what have we learned here? The hotel star system is a chaotic, inconsistent, and commercially driven mess that was born from marketing, not hospitality science. But that doesn't mean that it's completely useless. You just have to know how to read it. So here is your new Savvy Traveller's Guide to choosing a hotel. Step 1. Use stars as an amenity filter. Think of the star rating as a rough guide to what facilities a hotel probably has. A 4 or 5-star hotel, for example, is likely to have a restaurant, a pool, a gym, and a 24-hour reception. This, of course, may vary by region though. And a 1 or 2-star hotel is basically a room with a bed. Use the stars, therefore, to narrow your search based on the facilities that you actually want, and nothing more. Step 2. Become a review detective. To judge the actual quality of a place, you need to look at the recent user reviews. And don't just trust one site. Check Google, check TripAdvisor, and check the booking site that you're using to book the hotel to get more of a balanced picture. Step 3. Read between the lines. Don't just look at the overall score, the real truth sometimes often lies in the 3 and 4-star reviews. I said this in my Trustpilot video, which I'll leave a link to at the end of this one. They're usually the most balanced, you see. And also look for recurring themes. If 10 different people in the last month have all mentioned the amazing breakfast or the noisy air conditioning, then that's probably a pattern that you can trust. And then step 4, trust the photos from the people. Always look for the traveller submitted photos on whatever site that you can get them from, not the hotel's glossy professional shots that were taken 5 years ago. The real pictures will show you what the room looks like now in all of its slightly worn, authentically lit glory. So the star system might be broken, but by combining it with a bit of detective work, you can still find a great place to stay without paying that extra 20 quid for a slightly fancier mint. Thank you everybody for joining me on this little look at the funny business of hotel stars. If you enjoyed this episode, please do give the video a like and subscribe to Funny Business as well for more content like this. Have you ever been duped by a hotel star rating? Do let me know in the comments below. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to book a 2-star hotel with 5-star reviews, because that's where the real value is. But before I do, click over here to watch this video on something fishy happening with Trustpilot reviews.